All right, guys, we are live. Welcome. Thank you for tuning into today's group coaching call, where we are going to be talking about leads. So everybody loves talking about leads. And I think that it is because, most gym owners feel like if they had an unlimited amount of leads, that their gym wouldn't have any problems, or it would at least have like the majority of the problems fixed, right? And to some degree that may be true, because usually our biggest problems are that we don't have the amount of members that we would want in order for us to make the amount of profit that we feel like we deserve from our business or from the work that we put in. And so the easiest way to get more money is to get more members. The easiest way to get more members is to get more leads, right? So fixes the problem. So the thing is that, as you go through this program more and more, you'll realize that that is not the easiest way to accomplish your goals by any means, right? If your goal is to have profit and your goal is to have the freedom to like work wherever you want, whenever you want, on the things that you want to work on. And like I said, guys, that could include training. Like, I am not one to tell you that, hey, look, if you want to be a successful gym owner, like, you shouldn't be on the gym floor training. You shouldn't be like, dude, if that's your passion, absolutely, like, do what, but realize the choice between want to and have to, right? And that's what I think freedom is ultimately, right? Is the difference between want to and have to, right? And so when you wake up every day and you're only doing the stuff that you want to do, man, it doesn't get much better than that. And then if you can add the profit that allows you financially to do the things that you and have the resources to do whatever you want with your kids or whatever, like, ultimately, I think that's what a lot of us, got into business for. And I'm telling you that there is an easier way to accomplish that than getting as many leads as possible, right? That is a way, probably, maybe, right? For some gyms, right? But it is certainly not the easiest way, right? And so the point of today's live is coaching call is for me to kind of go through the same process that I go through with my team on a weekly basis, right? So if you guys follow my journey at all through the gym, and I break it up between, level 1 through 4 gyms, a level 1 gym, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, right? Level 5 is the final level. And that's where, me as an owner would be completely outside of the business, right? And looking at it as an investment. I did that for the last 2 years. And then this year, 2023, I went back in for the 4-hour work weeks, which is what you'll see in level 4, because I really just enjoy doing it, guys. Freedom is doing what you enjoy to do, not because I have to, because I like to, man. And it's fun. And I get to work with that team and collaborate with them and find, figure shit out. And so once a week, we do this exercise that I'm going to do with you guys, right? I'm sorry. I do this once a month, the exercise, and then we follow up on it each week, right? We follow up to see if the things that we said we were going to do, if that's making an impact on our lead flow, right? And so to break it down, and to kind of explain before we get into lead flow, explain our overall strategy at the gym is to, number one, and this is cool, increase our monthly recurring revenue month over month, right? And so that is a number that is tracked in our master sheets, right? Which, if you guys have the new master sheets, maybe even the old ones have it, but where we're tracking MRR churn. Okay, so most gym owners know about churn. Most of them do, right? Some gym owners track churn, right? And they're saying, like, look, my churn is like 5%, meaning that if you have 100 gym members, you're losing 5 of them every month, right? And you got to replace those 5 to maintain your 100 gym owners. That's churn in general, right? And so that number is important if you're never changing your membership rates, right? Because then that gives you an idea, and it should be directly proportional to your MRR churn, which is your monthly recurring revenue churn, right? Because the membership rates are the same for those coming in and going out. However, when you are introducing a high ticket program to your gym, what you really want to pay attention to is your MRR churn, right? Because think about this, you could lose 4 members and only gain 3 that month. But what if all 3 of them that you gained came in on a transformation program, a high ticket program, right? And then you lost, 4 people, but they were all paying your old rates at like $99 a month, right? So your MRR churn actually went up, right? And what you'll find is that if you have a goal for getting your MRR, monthly recurring revenue, to a certain point, particularly at the same level of your expenses, then you will find it relatively easy to make the amount of profit that you want to make, right? So how do we get our MRR churn, or our monthly recurring revenue, to the point that we want it to be? Well, number one, we sell high ticket, right? So for every 3 people you had to sell before, you probably only have to sell 1 now, right? Number 2, we stop losing people, right? Which means assign them a coach. And when you assign them a coach, their lifetime value just goes way. I mean, the amount of time that they stay with your company is much, much longer. And so those 2 factors right off the bat are really going to help you get to that profit level. And then number 3, we add more of them. And that's where the leads come in, right? But think about it. If you're adding high ticket people that stay for a long time, you don't need nearly as many of them, right? Okay. And so if you don't need nearly as many of them, you don't need nearly as many leads, right? And so I think that really understanding the throughput, right? And this is why I made the new version of the sheets, so you can understand your throughput, will really help you understand where your bottlenecks are, where your holes are, and how many leads you actually need, right? That's the thing, guys. And so, like, as an example, if your churn is above 10%, like, dude, you got to fix that before you attack leads, because they're coming right out the back end. You know what I mean? They're signing up and they're quitting, and that's going to be a very common case for your offers that are like 6-week challenges, 28-day this, 8-week that. You're going to constantly battle that churn number, right? They're gonna sign up, and you can say, well, I'm not going to track them as an active member or churn until after the challenge. Look. Then you're putting a Band-Aid on a bigger problem, right? And so the point is that you adjust your offer and you get the longer term, like, fix that problem before you identify leads, right? Fix the problem of how much you're able to charge people by adjusting what you guys are doing as a company, right? If you don't think that you can sell high ticket, it's maybe because you haven't layered in things that you feel are valuable enough to charge that amount, right? And obviously, when you incorporate some level of private coaching, that value skyrockets. Now we're able to, but it doesn't skyrocket proportionally to the expenses, right? Which is why it's inherently more profitable, right? And so that's why we want to do that, right? So now that we got those 2 things figured out, we got this badass transformation program figured out, and we have the the churn, the offer figured out, so you're not churning them out as much. Okay, well, now how many members do we actually have to gain per month for us to hit our goal, right? And you guys should have goals. You should have goals set. If you have no goals at all, I would recommend going through the strategic plan when you get to that part of the course, which is now going to be in phase 3. There's an overview of it. under the required software lesson, but just an overview. When you get to phase 3, is I actually go into the entire strategic plan. It's a brand new lesson that I thought was missing. Anyways, that's where you can establish these goals. Like, guys, how much profit do you want to make? Right. So by knowing that, you'll get to like, okay, well, this is how many members we need to have, or this is how many people we need to sign up. So first you got to set your goals, right? Before you do your lead flow exercise, because if your goal is like, we need 40 new members a month, it's like, holy shit. Okay. So how did you get to that number? Right. So go through that. And by all means, you can jump on any of my calls and I'll kind of walk you through the process that we do to determine how many people you actually have to acquire. And then for us, it's pretty simple, guys. Once you have your offer and all of that stuff figured out, we know that we want to grow by 5. We keep it simple at our gym. We want to grow by 5 net members every month. That's it, right? Keep it simple. Okay. So we take a look at the previous month. How many people did we churn out, right? If we churned out, if we lost 8 members, well, guess what? Next month, we want to acquire 13. Right. And so we set our goal based on that, because we always want to be up 5. We always want to add, because dude, that's a lot of members. Like, think about 5 times 12 months is 60, is 60, right? Is that right? 5 times 12. Yeah, it is. And so that's 60 more members at the end of the year. That's a lot, guys. Right. That's a big jump, especially if they're high ticket, right? Think about it. If they're paying $299 a month, which is like the low end of our high ticket, just take the low end. That's $300 a month, right? And you multiply that by 60 people, right? That is $18,000, per month in additional revenue. Pretty cool. Month over month of recurring. Yeah, you know what I mean? And so it's a really reasonable goal. Anyways, so we identified that and we said, okay, we got to get 13 new members next month. How are we going to do it? And so the first thing that we're going to take a look at is understanding our throughput, right? And so we have to work our way backwards, right? And so here's some numbers that you guys need to know, right? And they're in the tracking sheets. I'm going to go into the tracking sheets in a little bit. I'm not going to make this a super long call, because I think that you guys can if you're interested in doing this, go to the actual training, because I'll get way more in depth. But you got to understand your throughput. Otherwise, you can't estimate how many leads you actually need, right? And what I mean by throughput is, let me just share. I'm going to share my screen. Let's get after it. All right, so I got my master operating sheets open. You guys have these. Guys, I am telling you, every single thing in the course is exactly what I use at my gym. I make no modifications to my stuff. And our gym runs at cruising altitude by my team, super smooth, and we generate a ton of cash and profit, and everybody knows their job. You can absolutely get there. I'm so confident in your ability to do it yourself, because I don't think that we're anything special, right? I really don't believe that. And so it just comes down to a matter of time, right? I have just been doing it longer. That's it, right? And so as long as you're not going to quit, like, you are ultimately going to get to the same place that I will if you just keep going down the same path. The path leads the same place, right? You just gotta not quit. And then eventually you'll get to the end of the path, which is this, right? Or at least where my gym is at, if that's your goal, right? If it's not your goal, then we make a different path for you. Anyways, what the throughput that I want you to understand is this right here. So lead to client journey and these step points. So when you click on this is a visual. We have an actual chart that, or an actual spreadsheet that goes along with it. But okay, how many of your leads, free and paid, end up getting nurtured and end up booking on this calendar right here? So you got 8 different sources of free methods, right, that you can get leads from. And then one source of paid methods, Facebook ads. Now, Facebook ads is one source, but you can run them multiple different ways. And we do run them multiple different ways to acquire this Facebook lead form, right? How many of them actually make it on your calendar, guys? Right? You got to know that number. Okay. Of the leads that you get, how many of them make it on your calendar? Right? Of the people that make it on the calendar, they get nurtured. How many of them actually show up to this sale? You got to know that number. Of your sale process, how many of them do you normally close? Right? And what do you sell them on? Okay. So you got to know those numbers because you got to work your way backwards to how many leads you actually need. And it's completely dependent on those numbers. Right. So in order to do that, you can go to this one right here. Whoops. This is the appointment pipeline. Nope. You can go to, whoops. We're scrolling fast here. Right here, lead gen stats. Okay. So let's scroll down the bottom here. Okay, so these are our stats from January. These are our real stats, guys. And so I mean, I'm showing you my team sheets here. I'm not showing you like a template or anything. They're body by designs, right? And so we have some bottlenecks that we need to work on. Okay, our gym's not perfect, right? Number one is look at our percentage of leads at schedule, 31%. And do you know why that is? Because our availability is bad. It is, and I'm working on that. So we have, like I say in the course, I recommend 20 hours of sales, right? And we have 20 hours worth of sales availability. It's not during peak hours. When I looked at our sales manager's availability, he's like, yeah, I got 20 hours in here, and he had them on the days that I wanted, right? But not during peak hours, right? In fact, we only had about 2 or 3.5 hours of the 20 were what I consider to be peak hours, which are 4 to 8 p.m., Monday through Thursday, and then 7 to 11 on Saturday. Those are peak sales hours. That's 20 peak sales hours, right? Ours are outside of that, right? And I let him train. I let my sales manager train because he really likes it. But unfortunately, that training spilled over towards peak hours, which it always fucking will, because that's when clients prefer to come to the gym, right? They prefer to come to buy and sign up at that time after work, and they prefer to train at that time. So it's always going to happen. So if you let your sales manager train, I don't have a problem with that, but I would say you cannot schedule clients during these peak hours, because you know what'll happen? This will happen. 31% of your leads schedule, right? It should be 60, right? But they look at my calendar and they say, hey, none of these times work. Okay. And so we're working on that. We're working on fixing that problem. But we have a 70% show rate, 67 percent show rate, which is good, because we nurture our leads and we diversify our leads, right? We have a 67% close rate, which is, again, what I said it should be. It should be about 70%, right? We did $23,000 in contracts. So contract value. I don't think this spreadsheet really has the cash collected. That's more on the if you scroll over and look at the sales sheets. But I would say probably at least 50% of this is cash collected, somewhere around there. We only spent $840 on ads. And that's, guys, because we don't rely on ads. We rely on our organic pipelines, which I'm going to go into in a second. In fact, you can scroll up and you can see we have 3 different ad types running right now. And this is how many leads, how many appointments booked, how many closed, and how much money. We made $11,000 in contract value from our $840 ad spend, which is a 971% ROAS, which is great. And then the rest of the money came from our organic pipelines down here. These are all of our organic stuff. Pretty diversified. I don't think there's only a couple with a 0, right? Only a couple. We had a 0 under our member. We didn't sign anybody up from our member event or challenge because we did not run one this month. And we didn't sign anybody up for traffic and signage, which is weak because we normally do, man. We normally do. So I got to change that sign up. Maybe they're just sick of seeing the same sign, right? But these numbers, guys, are consistent for us. They're always around this, right? And so that allows me to know if I need to sign up 13 people, right? And so I wonder if it tells me the units that we sold. Yeah, it does. 14 closed, right? So our goal was 13. We hit 14. So if I want to sign up 14 people, it appears that I need about 100 leads. It appears to be that way, right? it looks like, based on my percentages, right, 99 leads will turn into 31 appointments, which will turn into 21 that actually show, which will turn into 14 that actually buy, right? That's what these totals are for, right? And so you're able to, and I paid for more leads than I got organically, but you know what? I signed up. How many did I sign up here? 7, right? So 50-50. Look at that. I signed up 50% came from my leads, my paid sources, and 50% came from my organic sources, right? And almost the same split as far as cash goes, because look, we were at 11,000 here and we're at 23,000 total, right? And so what does that mean? It means that my cost to acquire a customer is low because 50% of the customers that I acquired, I didn't pay any money for. I didn't run any ads to them. And the ones that I did run ads to, I didn't spend a lot, right? And that's what can happen if you're diversified, right? And so when you look at some of the numbers, I spent $1,500 on commission, paying out the sales guy for a commission. I add this in because I want to know my true cost of acquisition, guys. Right? Your ad spend divided by the amount of members you acquired, that only works if the owner's doing all the sales, right? But to find the cost of acquisition, if you have a salesperson doing your sales, you have to add in what you're paying that dude. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you're not finding your real cost of acquisition, because without that money going to that dude, you're not acquiring anybody, right? And so I know that my cost of acquisition is $171 or $170, right? And I know that the average initial program is $1,700, roughly $1,700, right? Because I take the total contracted 23,108 and I divide it by 14 closes. Right. And guys, this is all automated, by the way. This whole fucking dashboard right here is automated. The only thing that you put anything in is you type your ad spend in. That's it. Everything else auto calculates on this whole sheet from the other sheets. Right. Even the commission gets pulled from the other sheets. You know, it's all formulas. And so anyways, we have a 10x cost of acquisition to lifetime value. Right. This month was 9.68. I repeatedly tell you that you need a 10x cost of acquisition to lifetime value to make it in this game, right? To make it in the gym business, because there's not going to be enough meat left on the bone, right, for that to happen. Let me explain, guys. So 1650 average initial lifetime value, right? What are your profit margins? What are your net profit margins after all expenses are paid? You know, and so let's say ours are 15%, which they are, right? We want them to be higher. We wish they were higher. That'd be awesome, right? But they're 15%. Okay, so what is 15% of 1650? Well, 10% of it is $165. So if you take half of that, right, that would be $80. So 80 plus the or 800, I'm sorry, plus the I'm sorry, 80 plus 165. There we go. We made it $250 roughly. So $225 roughly. Okay. Sorry, I'm doing this math in my head. I probably chopped it up. But anyways, my point is this, right? $170 to acquire the customer. Acquire, right? If I had 10% profit margins, right, I would only be putting $165 of this lifetime value in my pocket, because you don't keep all of your fucking revenue, you keep the net profit. Okay. And so in order for us to be profitable on our acquisition, right, which everybody claims, you know, client financed acquisition, it's bullshit, because you're talking about revenue to ad spend, guys. It's not real. It's fake. It's fake money. Right. And so, and that's why those gyms running those models don't actually have the profit. That's why they don't know where their money went. My point is that you need to have this kind of discrepancy, because now we know that 75% of our customers are going to renew, and that's where the profit is, because there's no cost of acquisition on the renewal, guys, or the upsell, or all of the rest of that stuff. And we're still making enough profit on the initial sale here, because we're at 15% to, you know, $225 minus 170. We're still making enough profit to put all of that back into ads, you know, scot-free. And so The point is that, and I promise I'm getting into leads soon. But it's really important that you know this flow, this throughput here, guys, right? If you want to take business seriously and you want to turn your gym into a real business, you have to know this shit, right? And if that means like studying it every night until it's like you understand your numbers, this is how you win. And the bigger gap you make, the more you can drive this 9.68 bigger and bigger and bigger, the more profit you're going to have, right? And the lower it is, the more difficult it's going to be for you to win the battle, because it's costing you a lot of money and they're not giving you a lot of money. That's a recipe for bad business, guys, right? So anyways, this stuff is all up to you, but know these numbers. Okay, so I know I need 100 leads. I know I need 100 leads, guys, based off my previous numbers. Let's figure it out. Now we scroll over to this exercise, lead flow exercise. You guys all have copies of this. Let's dig in. Now, okay, so we have 8 different sources of organic and we have 1 source of paid, right? Me and my sales manager are going to we're going to be as objective as we possibly can in rating these on a scale of 1 to 10. Right. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to box number 2 and say, well, how many leads did we get from this source last month? Right. Then I'm going to make up some numbers here because I don't want to go back and forth between my sheets and take up even more time. But let's say we got, 5 leads from the website. We got 2 leads from the signage. We got 6 leads from the Facebook group. We got 20 leads from our broadcast. We got 5 referrals. We got 10 leads from our event that came in. We got 10 from our team referrals. Let's say we didn't run a health and fitness fair, so we got 0 there. And then, Facebook, they took up the other half. So we actually got 50, 50 plus 50. I don't know if that's actually 50. Who knows, right? But let's just say that how we split them up. So let's take a look at this, guys. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, right? How do we feel about generating 5 leads from our website? Do we feel like we could have done better? I think absolutely, right? And so on a scale of 1 to 10, how strong am I going to rate this source? Okay, I'm going to give it a 5. I really am, because I think there's a lot of work that can be done. Signage. Look, if we're only generating two leads, from our signage based on where I'm at, we're not in a busy city, right? And so I'm not gonna like beat us up too bad, but I mean, 2 is weak, right? Free Facebook group, 6. That's pretty good, I think, for the group. I'm gonna give that a 6, right? I'm gonna try to be realistic here. SMS and email reactivation, 20 leads. Honestly, I think with a good New Year, New You push, I think we should be at probably a little bit more. So I'm going to give that a 6. Direct member referral incentive program. We got a 5. We generated 5 leads that closed. That's awesome. I'm gonna give that a 7. That's good for us. Member challenges and events. We got 10 leads from there. Again, that's good for us. That means +1s coming to events or challenges that are not our members, and then we convert them afterwards. I think that's pretty good for us. That means that it means that people are actually bringing other people. Again, team referrals. This is our strong suit at our gym because we have so many trainers at this point. So we brought in 10 people, from that. Again, that's pretty good. I'm going to give that an 8. I'm going to say that that's probably our strongest suit. Health and fitness fair. Obviously it was a 0. So, I'm going to give this a 0 because we didn't even do one, and we could have done one, but we didn't. Right. And so, and then finally our paid source, our Facebook ads, generating that many leads for that cost. I think that's pretty damn good, to be honest with you. I'm going to give that a 6. It could always be better. Right. Okay, so now what I do is I look at my total points right here. Okay, so I got 49 total points. This was adding up as I was typing stuff in. So I go over and I look at my priority chart, right? And so if you did this same exercise yourself, and by all means, you don't have to do this with your team. You can totally do this by yourself, right? But if you got 0 to 10 points, dude, this is your top priority. You are never going to hit your acquisition, goal. with 0 to 10 points, because you're not doing anything. That's the point, is you're not doing anything, right? I'm not talking about shit's not working. You're not even doing anything at this point, right? 10 to 20 points, you need to focus your attention on that month. That's where you could actually be putting some attention towards it, but not nearly enough, right? We all have the same amount of time, right? All of us as gym owners, right? So the only thing that differentiates us from each other is how we spend that time, where we put our attention, right? And so if you're in a situation right now where you're like, well, I can't afford to put my attention anywhere else because I have to do all of this stuff, that is the reason that is the reason why we want to be as profitable per customer as we can, so we can afford to pay other people, right? Because I can put my attention, all of it, towards lead gen if I needed to. I don't need to, but if I did, that's what I would do in a 10 to 20% range, right? 20 to 30 points. I would not focus my attention on solely that for the month, but I would definitely make a strong effort to improve it. I would definitely take a look at some of these lower numbers, and I would think about how to improve that. 30 to 40 points. I would look at small improvements. So I would not make a strong effort to like really revamp something. But I would say like, hey, where's some low hanging fruit that we could really bump these numbers up a little bit? That'll probably not take us very much time to do, right? 40 to 50 points. Which is where I graded myself, 49-ish. I think we just do enough to maintain, right? I don't think that, because then you also don't want to falsely focus on your gym as well, or your lead gen as well, right? Because if you have this many leads flow in, right, and you've rated yourself these, right, and you're generating a lot of leads, but you're still not acquiring the members that you need to. Like, guys, you don't have a lead gen problem. You're fucking losing them out the back door. Put your attention on retention. Put your attention on client experience. Put your attention on QA and your coaches and figuring out what's going on there, right? Don't put your attention back on even more leads, right? It's not going to solve your problem, right? So anyways, I wanted to just explain that to you guys. And then finally, let's say you're at, so do enough to maintain, right? Whether that's like updating your website with the new trainers, or putting some flags out by your sign, or, continue posting in your free Facebook group so you don't just completely stop it. Keep running your SMS and email broadcast. Keep working on your referrals and all of that stuff, right? And then 50 plus points. Lead gen is not your problem, guys, right? So you definitely want to focus on other aspects of your business, right? If you have a hard time grading yourself, if you find you can't figure out what number to give yourself, go ahead and scroll all the way to the other side of these spreadsheets, and I put a creating and prioritizing goals worksheet in here. And so this is going over the five core functions of your business, and lead generation is one of them, right? So when you look at lead generation, now again, in the course, I will explain this entire sheet and the strategic plan. But I wanted to just give you a quick little nugget while we're on the topic. You can read over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the levels of that I am asking you to grade yourself on across all sources, all 5 functions of your business, right? But we're just solely talking about lead generation right now. So read these, does this sound like you? Lead generation is inconsistent and unpredictable with very few qualified leads. If that's you, then maybe give yourself a low rating if you have a hard time judging and grading yourself, okay? So you have this resource here for you. Okay, anyways, back to our lead flow exercise, guys. I promise I'm going to be done in 5 minutes, because I know you guys do not like my long videos, but also I don't want to make a crappy video, so I guess it's going to be as long as it needs to be. So let's go back to our lead flow exercise. All right, here we are. So what I will then do with my team is we're going to list, we're going to type in this box, and we're literally going to list everything that we could do. And guys, this is an hour meeting, just so you know, right? Everything that we could do to improve this source's strength for this month, right? So website and SEO, push another SEO through, Okay, that's one thing we could do, right? You could do update on-site SEO with more keywords, right? Maybe my site doesn't say gym enough or personal training enough or whatever. Change call to action to free 7-day. Add button to link up launch calendar. Optimize the site for mobile. Anyways, you guys get the point, right? So these are all the things that we could do. I'd probably change this font if you really start getting like hot and heavy with this, so you can read everything. Okay. And you would literally do this for all of the sources that you feel you can bring higher, right? If you got a couple like 8, 9s, 10s, I wouldn't worry about doing it for those, right? But I would do it for the ones that you guys really feel like you could bring higher. Then the next thing that we do, guys, is we go to the box. You are not going to do all of these things. I listed like 8 things here, guys. And check it out. If I list 8 things across 8 different pipelines, that's 64 fucking things that you could do to improve your lead generation, right? So I don't want to hear that Facebook ads is the only way to get leads. And if you don't have the right campaign, like, then you don't know what to do and you got to hire a marketer. Dude, that's bullshit. That's just being lazy, right? I mean, look at all the things that you could do. All of these require effort. Nothing I even typed on here requires money, right? Maybe the SEO requires a little bit of money, right? But not a lot, like $200, right? But signage, effort, free Facebook group, maybe your call to actions or your value posts or all of the stuff that you're doing in there is weak. Maybe it's not good, right? And you don't have to be an amazing copyright, dude. Just go on Chat GPT and just type in, have it give you 10 topics that are incredibly engaging based on your avatar, and those are great topics that you guys can discuss. You can just jump on a video, jump on your phone, and just pick one of them and discuss it and get engagement. Right? It's effort, guys. It's effort. SMS and email. Right? How often are you messaging your leads? Right? Are you giving value, or are you just constantly pitching them offers? Right? These are all things that you can improve. All of them. Right? You can't rate yourself a 5 and say, well, that's just as good as it gets. That's not how it works, right? Then you're not being resourceful. You have to find better ways to increase your organic sources. That's the power of brick and mortar, right? Advertising on Facebook is the last thing you should be doing. You should be blending that with your organic sources, right? Because you need to get to 100, right? You shouldn't say, I want to get all 100 of them from Facebook. That's how you end up with shitty leads. That's how you end up spending a lot of money, right? And that's how your cost of acquisition skyrockets, right? And you think, well, if I spend $2,000 on ads and I sell $2,000 worth of contracts, I broke even. No, you didn't. You don't keep that $2,000 worth of contracts, guys. You keep whatever your net margin is. So you lost money. Now you have to make sure every single one of those people stay, or you really lost money, right? And so you have to be able to blend it with organic sources. And the only way to do that is to put in effort. And it doesn't have to be you. Guys, when I leave these meetings, trust me, when I leave this meeting, I literally do not have one thing that I have to do personally. I'm just there for the strategy, right? My team, they end up with a list of shit they have to do, right? But we do those things, and let me tell you, and so you write down, so you go through this entire thing of all the things that you could do, and you really prioritize on the things that you will do, and you'll probably end up with like 10. You'll probably end up with like 10 things that you are committed to doing this month, right? And then you write down below it, who's going to own making this happen, right? What's their name? Type it in, Jake. Okay, and I don't know why I put Jakar. But but Jake owns making that happen, right? And like I said, guys, you know, people in process, right? That's all business comes down to, is the right people following the right processes. Did you identify the right processes and prioritize the right things? Right, that's your job as a CEO, as the owner. And if you don't know the answer, that's why you're in our program, is because you have access to those answers through people that have made the mistakes like me, and can tell you the right answer. So your processes should be the best practices that we're giving you. Right now, it comes down to people. You know, at the end of the day, like if we all agree on this stuff and Jake just doesn't fucking do it, well, then we got a people problem, right? Or maybe you didn't train him well enough, or maybe he doesn't know how to do it, or maybe maybe you need to work on your leadership, because you're like, okay, Jake, make this happen, and Jake just, like, after you're out of the room, he's like, dude, I have no fucking idea how to do any of this stuff. Like, and Joey didn't train me on it, so like, I hope I just don't mess this up and get fired, right? And that's up to you as a leader, man. You got to know if you put yourself or your team in a position to fail. So, anyways, we go through this with every single one of these every month, and I promise you, if you give yourself 10 things that you will do, that you commit to doing to improve your lead gen, right? And you actually do those 10 things month over month over month, by the end of the year, you have literally taken 120 actions, intentional actions, to improve your ability to generate leads, right? You are not going to be 20 or 30 points. You're going to be 40 to 50 points. Trust me. Right. And at that point, you can say, well, I understand that I have goals. I have goals for my business that exceed the ability to reach through organic pipelines only. Therefore, I will run Facebook ads to reach these goals, but at least I know what my return is on my Facebook ads, and I know how much I can spend. And that's the point of giving you access to all of this stuff, is so you know, right? If you're like, yeah, Joey, that's cool, I'm going to do that, and then you don't do it, right? You don't do this process. You don't use these sheets. You don't do any of this stuff, right? You keep doing what you have been doing. Then you literally have the same advantage as somebody who doesn't even have access to this, right? Because you're not using it. And so my point is that if you want to create a lot of leads, you must be intentional about it, right? You have to come up with a plan and execute on that plan, right? And if you don't know what your plan should be, you should be on these calls or go through the course, because I tell you what the plan is, right? And if you want more like Facebook ad strategies, like I got a couple of them I'm working on, guys, that are pretty fucking cool, but I don't want you to rely on those, right? Because it's unpredictable. You don't know if it's going to work, and you can't rely on something as volatile as Facebook ad campaigns to build a strong business, right? These other things, guys, they're not volatile. If you figure out how to get a lot of referrals, guys, that's not going to go away, right? If your website generates a ton of traffic and opt-ins, that's not going to stop overnight when an algorithm changes, right? If you figure out some signage that really draws attention, has a great call to action and an offer on it, and people start coming in, that's not going to change, guys, right? Like, and so I don't want you to figure, like, have one successful Facebook campaign and be like, yep, I figured it out. Fuck yeah, you know, because that is going to change. And all of you, if you've been in the game for at least 4 years, have seen it change. Try doing what you did 4 years ago. Run the exact same thing right now. You probably still have the training. See how well it works. It's not going to work. It's going to generate the worst leads that will not show up. And when they do show up, they do not expect to pay anything near what you're charging, right? And so we need to diversify. That's the only thing we can do. Anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this live. I will get into a couple of the additional strategies that I'm using for Facebook ads when I test them longer. right? So I've been testing out 2 new strategies for 2 to 3 weeks now, and they look very promising. But I will test them, and then I will test them at other gyms in their markets. And then if they perform across all of those, I will tell you about them. Right. Because the last thing I'm going to do is be irresponsible and have you spend money on something that I don't think is 100%. Right. I don't feel comfortable with that. Right. So anyways, guys, I appreciate you all. I know this went a little bit long. I was like, hey, let's do this for 30 minutes. We're 52 minutes in. I don't know, maybe watch it on 2X or something, but I hope you got value in this, and I hope you can start doing this exercise starting February with your team. Because guys, it's incredibly eye-opening, right? And it shifts what it really does is it changes the ownership of it changes the responsibility of lead gen from the market and your environment to you. A lot of times when I meet with brand new gym owners, when you hear them talk about their lack of leads, they're assigning that problem and the ownership of that problem to the circumstances. Right? They'll say, hey, my market is really bad for this. My Facebook ad account is fucked up. My funnel isn't working. I don't have money to spend on ads. They're what they're doing is they're giving me a lot of reasons that is justifying to them that it's out of their control. Right? And that victim mentality will not serve you in the least bit as an entrepreneur, right? What this does is this shifts that perspective, right? And it takes the ownership and the responsibility away from your market and your circumstances and puts it back on you. And what that does is it makes you create an actionable plan and execute that plan, right? And that's what actually fixes problems. Right, is the execution of a plan, right? Not even just planning itself. There's a lot of fucking, I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but you guys get my point, right? Anyways, do the work. And when you do the work, you'll get the results. So appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys next Tuesday, with some more coaching. You guys rock. I'm out of here. Let's go.